The assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh sent shockwaves through the Middle East. Haniyeh, killed in a targeted operation attributed to Israel, was a figure of significant influence in the Palestinian territories. His death immediately sparked fears of a violent response, particularly from Iran. Iran, a staunch supporter of Hamas, had previously vowed swift and severe retaliation for any attack on its allies. High-ranking officials issued fiery statements condemning the assassination and promising a forceful response. However, as days turned into weeks, the anticipated Iranian retaliation did not materialize. Instead, a notable shift began to emerge in Iran's rhetoric, one characterized by a more calculated and patient approach. The fiery rhetoric that initially dominated Iran's response to Haniyeh's assassination gradually gave way to a more measured tone. Public statements from Iranian officials began to emphasize themes of strategic patience and careful deliberation. The emphasis shifted from immediate retaliation to the longer-term goal of exacting revenge at a time and place of Iran's choosing. Iran was undoubtedly aware of the potential consequences of a rash response. An overt military strike against Israel carried the risk of triggering a wider conflict, one that Iran, facing its own internal challenges, could ill afford. An aggressive response from Iran risked derailing negotiations to revive the Iran nuclear deal, an outcome unlikely to serve Tehran's interests. This strategy of calculated ambiguity aimed to keep Israel on edge and exact a psychological toll. Iran's shift towards a more patient and calculated response mirrored the approach often employed by its close ally, Hezbollah. Hezbollah, the Lebanese Shia militant group, has a long history of engaging in asymmetric warfare, particularly against Israel. Central to Hezbollah's strategy is the concept of responding to attacks at a time and place of its choosing. This strategy emphasizes strategic patience, careful planning, and the exploitation of vulnerabilities. Hezbollah's history is replete with examples of this approach, with the group often waiting months or even years to retaliate for attacks against its leaders or interests. Iran, facing a similar power asymmetry vis-à-vis Israel, appears to have adopted a similar playbook. By emphasizing the certainty of eventual retaliation but maintaining ambiguity about its timing and nature, Iran aims to keep Israel guessing and deter future attacks.
Section 4. The calculus of delay. Implications and uncertainties. Iran's strategic delay in retaliating for Haniyeh's assassination carries significant implications for regional stability and its relations with the West. The most immediate implication is the heightened state of uncertainty and tension in the region. Israel, on edge and anticipating retaliation, might be tempted to launch preemptive strikes, further inflaming the situation. The delayed response also complicates diplomatic efforts to revive the JCPOA. While the Biden administration has expressed a willingness to rejoin the agreement, Iran's continued support for regional proxies like Hamas and its threats against Israel give hawks in Washington ammunition to oppose any rapprochement with Tehran. The absence of an immediate escalatory response creates space for diplomacy and de-escalation.
Section 5. The West watches, navigating a volatile landscape. The West, particularly the United States and its European allies, finds itself in a delicate position as it navigates the volatile aftermath of Haniyeh's assassination and Iran's delayed response. On the one hand, the West recognizes the need to uphold international law and condemn extrajudicial killings, even when targeting individuals like Haniyeh, who is designated a terrorist by many Western nations. This delicate balancing act requires a nuanced approach, one that avoids appearing to condone either side's actions while simultaneously working to prevent further escalation. Condemning the assassination while reaffirming Israel's right to self-defense is crucial. Equally important is engaging with Iran, both directly and through intermediaries, to communicate the West's expectations and urge restraint. Navigating this complex landscape requires a combination of diplomacy, deterrence, and a realistic assessment of the limits of Western power.
Section 6. Awaiting the next act, an uncertain future. The assassination of Ismail Haniyeh and Iran's subsequent shift towards a delayed response have injected a dangerous dose of uncertainty into an already volatile region. The situation remains fluid and unpredictable, with the potential for escalation ever present. Iran's promised retaliation, while delayed, continues to cast a long shadow, shaping the calculations of all actors involved. The world watches, holding its breath as the next act in this dangerous drama unfolds.